Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be working with something a little bit less fun than last time. I really just put in the simple game because hopefully it would, kind of pique people's interest and kind of force them to push through the hard times that we're dealing with right now. So, with that said, let's dive right back into this. Okay, now I want to teach you guys something very important, and it's two very important things. So we're going to be kind of pressed for time, so I'm going to rush through this as fast as I can. Now, earlier on, I mentioned that we would be typecasting numbers, and it totally slipped my mind. I should have handled this back before our Section 1 review, and it really just slipped my mind, so I apologize for that. We're going to take two integers. We're going to do x, we're going to set it equal to 9, and we're going to do y and set it equal to 5. Now, the reason I'm doing this is to show you something. Now, if I just do c out x divided by y, that's going to do, pretty much what you think it is. Now, anybody who knows a little bit of math can tell you that the answer to that is 1.8. However, when you're using integers, there's no such thing as a decimal point. So that really is not going to do well for us. And that's where casting comes in. We can make the C++ compiler treat this as a data type that it's not, just for a moment. So we can just do like this. We can do double x divided by double y. And in this case, it's going to give us the 1.8, like I said it would. Now, I believe that if you have either of them as double, that it works. Typically, if I'm going to be doing it, if I'm going to static cast one, I'm going to static cast both, but I believe you only need to do the denominator. Yeah. If you do just the numerator, it actually doesn't work if I recall correctly. Let me just make sure I'm not lying to you. We're going to try double x divided by y. I'm not sure if that'll work. Oh, it did. Okay. So you can really do either one or both. I honestly prefer to do both. There is some situation that it really escapes me right now where this doesn't work if you only do the numerator. So we're going to leave that be for now. We're not going to get too into that. There will be times where you need to static cast things, specifically when you use POW, which is part of the CMath library that we talked about. This first number needs to be a double. See, if I just try to do xy, and we're going to do cout POW xy, it'll tell us right here that, it can't, oh, well, hang on, I lied. Include CMath. That was the issue there. I do believe that this is going to yell at us and tell us that we can't do it. Yeah. See, it's telling us it needs a long or a double or something like that. So if we just change this to double x, this will compile just fine. And in this case, it's apparently 159,049. Okay, so that's going to just about handle it for casting. Some things that you want to note: you can't cast like a char, like char. Let's just say char c equals c. We can't make that into a string, even though they're basically the same thing. So let's say string x equals c. I can't do that, and it's going to tell me that I can't. So we're going to get into how to convert characters to strings and such later. I just wanted to let you know that you can't always cast one thing to another the way that you might want to. Okay. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is scope, and this one's really important. Now, when you're declaring variables, they always live and die within the scope that they're defined in. There will come a time when we're no longer doing things in main, and we're going to be doing things before and after main. We will get into the point where we're including other files into our main project, and it's very important that you understand the scope of variables. And what I mean by scope is where you can use them. The scope in main in this case is anything that happens in between these two yellow brackets. So, okay, I'll show you an example of scope, because scope exists not only within main, but within loops as well. So I'm going to do something right here where I actually declare int I. You don't actually need to declare it beforehand like you might put it up there. You can, but you don't have to. So let's say int I equals 0, I is less than 10, and we'll do I++, which is the first loop we started out with. Just going to see out I. And you know what? Let's do something crazy and just say we'll start up here with this one and say int no. Yeah, actually no, because that's dumb. Okay. And we'll just say int k equals 4. Now, this might give us a variable redeclaration error. I'm not entirely sure. This was kind of thought out spur of the moment. So, alright. Okay, and that works kind of how we thought it would. Now, let's say that we want to see out I, and then an endl, and then k. Because, you know, we can see right here that when the loop stopped, you know, this was on 9 because it didn't run through that last time. So that means that I equaled 10. So I equaled 10 and k equaled 4. Now we go to compile, and you'll see something strange happen. And you'll see what it says right here is name lookup of I, change for new ISO for scoping. And what that actually means is that int I is declared right here. And this is inside the scope of the for statement. So anything inside these two scope operators, and technically the for statement really falls inside this operator, which is weird, but it does, dies with this closing brace. So once this closing brace is hit, all of this information, anything you declare inside here, dies. Now let's say I wanted to use something outside of the scope though, right? So let's say I wanted to do something like this. I just wanted to do int k equals 0, and int, and we're just going to do I, just as a regular number. So okay, and here we're going to set k equal to 4, and we're going to try running this again. Let's see how it should chill, I think. We're going to try to compile it. And there we go. And you can see here that the 10, actually I'm just going to do an endl here. Okay. And we'll just run it one more time so you can see it well. And so our loop prints out 0 through 9, like how we expected it to. And then I afterwards is 10 because we declared it outside of the loop. So anything that happens to it inside the loop is now permanent because it's not destroyed with these scopes. And k equals 4 because we were able to set it inside here and it wasn't destroyed by the scope because we declared it outside. And so those are two very, very important things that you're going to need to know moving forward. You're going to really need to know about static casting, or, well, casting, or type casting, or there's a lot of names for it, but taking a variable and temporarily using it as a different type. And then the other thing you're going to need to know about is scope. And there will be other things that we deal with scope in later chapters. And I just want to check the time on this because I might want to cover one more quick thing. Yeah, okay, I've got some time. I'm at about 10 minutes. Okay, in an if statement, you can do something that I don't particularly like, but I'm going to show you anyways. We're going to just declare int k equal to 4. And we're going to do something and say if k equals 4, cout k is equal to 4. And you're going to notice something. I do not have scopes around this. And that's important. And the reason why I can get away with this is because I'm only executing one line of code. Now let's say I were to do else, and then we'll do the same thing, cout k is not equal to 4. Now, there's going to be something to take away from this that's very important. So, okay, k is equal to 4. That's what we expected. But what happens now if I say another line? For some reason, it really doesn't want me to write over there. NetBeans is very good about letting you know when a statement is ended. And we're just going to say C afterwards, right? And now this whole thing's going to be messed up as a result. It's not even going to compile. You'll see here that it says in our debugger, expected primary expression before else. What it means is that there's an else without a matching if, which you can't do. And the reason why is this second line right here. When you're not using scope operators, you can only execute one statement in an if. If you go above that one statement, then there's going to be serious problems. Another thing that you want to consider is, let's say that you don't have a matching else, but you only want this one if to execute. And let's say, let's just change it to something like this. K equals 5, and then we're going to say k is equal to 4. No, because that's misleading. Okay, we're going to set, there's no really good way for me to show you this because I didn't really think it through before I went and did this. So let's just do it like this. I want to have some value being set here. Okay, so we'll do k equals 5. I still, because that's going to happen. Okay, well what I'm trying to explain here is, despite this if statement, if we have more than one line of code here, whatever the second line of code is, it's going to execute no matter what you do. I thought about something where I could show you an example of that really quick, but in this case it's going to have the same, look as an if. Oh, actually, here we go. If k is not equal to 4, cout k is not equal to 4, and then cout k is really not equal to 4. So in this case, we might want to say that, and then, down here we might want to cout so k is equal to 5. And we'll try that. And so we're going to get, I hate when it does this. Every now and again, when you compile something, it just doesn't compile right, and it just comes up a little funny. I'm going to see if I can compile it before I hit the 15-minute limit. I might be able to. It's looking iffy. Okay, so I compile this, and it just prints everything out. Is equal to 4, is really not equal to 4, and is equal to 5. So it's very shaky. With that said, I'm Damien. I'm glad that I could take this time to show you a little bit more about scoping, a little bit more about static casting, and a little bit more about if statements. With that said, hopefully I helped. Ask any questions you have below, subscribe up above, and have a good time.